Hello, everybody. Welcome back once again to another episode of Learn Data Analytics with Blessing. And in today's video, we'll be starting with a practical session for our SQL tutorial. All right, the first thing you see anytime you open your SQL Server Management Studio is this. I'll just click on this to connect to the local DB there. So we have this here. So this particular place, when I click on this place for databases, I click on plus, it will show me if I have database already created there. I would see the database. How do you create a database? So I'd come here at the top, you'd see new query, click on new query, and this should provide us with a space where you can create your database or query the data you have in your database. I have this. How do I create a database? So I'll come here first. Let me just type a comment to show that I want to create a database. It's very important that you always add comments to your queries so that any other person reading it to understand what you've done or why you've done it. So to add a comment, did I press your hyphen? So I should double hyphen, then I'll say okay to create database like this. Or if you don't have this hyphen at the first place, just highlight the database, then come here and you can see this is the comment out selected lines. This is the comment on comment selected lines. I'll come here and comment it out and this make it a comment. What if your comment is very long and you want to break it into different lines, multiple lines? So I'm going to just I want to break this. All I have to do is to wrap this around this symbol, this slash asterisk, then come here and do the same thing at the end. Shift 8 for asterisk, then a slash. So this, you use this if you have a very long comment that you want to add to your query. So I have this, but I'm just showing us how to. First, it's just how you can create a database. So I'll come here and say, what do I want to do? I want to create a database. So I'll come here and say, okay, create database. What is going to be the name of the database? Let's give this, let's say LDA. So I'll end this query by using my semicolon. Even if you don't put this semicolon, you would still be able to execute this query. But for like PostgreSQL, you might not be able to until you add. There are some that will not allow you until you add this semicolon to end your query. So I'll highlight it and execute, and it will tell me okay, command completed. So how then will I get to see the query I have here? I'll just come here, the database I have here. I would come here and refresh this, or you press F5 on your system and you can see we've created a database called LDA. Another way you can create a database is by coming here, select database, right click, and you see new database. So I'll click on new database, and here it should ask you what is going to be the database name. Let's say I'll give this LDA1 or LDA1 as the database name. You can give it anything, SQL Tutorial 1, SQL Tutorial 2, anything. So you can see the database you've created, LDA1, then I'll hit OK, and here we have our LDA1 database created. So any of the method you want to use, as long as I'm using Microsoft SQL Server, but this is how you use using the command create database. What if I want to create a table in the database? Because the database will contain tables that where your data are arranged in rows and columns. So I'd come here and say, okay, to create a table, I'll use the command create table. What is the name of the table? I'll say, okay, customer. The name of my table is customer. The next thing is to specify what the column header is going to be as well as their data type. I'll come here and say, okay, for the first one is customer ID should be the first thing, and what should be the data type int for integer, that is numerical values, comma, followed by full name, and what should be the data type of full name, varchar. With this varchar, I can specify the number of characters that it must contain, it must allow. Let's say I'm giving it 50. Even if your name is very long, it should be up to 50. I'll close my parentheses, comma. Then the next thing I want to look at is age. I also want the age column. So age, give this int since it's numerical value age, comma. And the next thing I'm going to look at is city, I want to add a column for city as well, giving it varchar as data type for text. Then so okay, specify the number to be 20. It must contain 20 number of characters max. Then I've closed this now. Let me just close my parenthesis for this one, then end my query using a semicolon. I'll run this. If I run this, it's going to add the query, it's going to add the table, I mean, to this particular database, AdventureWorks 1. Let's see what happens when I execute this. This has been added. If I come here to my AdventureWorks 1 and I come to tables, I would see dbo.customer here. I didn't want to add this particular table to this AdventureWorks. So what I should have done is either I just come here to change it and select the database I want this table to be created in, select my LDA, or I would use the command called use database. I'll come here and say use what? Use LDA. When I say use LDA, if I run this query now, execute, it changes from AdventureWorks to LDA. Then when I create this table again, I would come here, execute, it will add commands completed. It will add this particular table I just created now to LDA. So if I want to see this, we are currently in the LDA, so it means we're in this database. If I want to select or see the table I just created, I'll come here and use the command select from. The select command is used to select or retrieve data from a database. I select all from where the table is customer, table name is customer, select all from customer. Then I'll end my query, run this, and we can see even we don't have data yet in the table, but we have a table already created with column headers. How do I insert values into this table I just created? First, let's comment this out. I'll say to create a table with the name customer. So I'll come here. I want to insert values. To insert values into the table customers, I'm going to use the command called insert into. So insert into where? Insert into customer, the table I want my data that I want to bring in now to be into customer. Okay, so what then? The values, hit enter, move to the next line. You can actually do it on that same line and come here and just say open bracket like this, but I want to do it the next line to make my query well arranged. So next line, values. What is the value? Don't forget, you have to follow this format. The first thing is the customer ID. So this first person is going to have ID 1, comma, then full name. I'm going to full name. Anytime I'm typing in a text, it has to be wrapped around quotation mark. So like this, and I'll say Alice Johnson is the full name of this person, this first customer, comma. The next thing is the age. She's 28. If you are typing in a number, type it straight, don't wrap it out anything, comma. Then the city is New York, so wrap it around quotation mark, say New York, and I have this, and I'll close my parenthesis like this. I have it closed, and I just end my query. Let's see what happens if we execute this. One row affected. So if I come here and say select all from customer, that should return a table for customers with the record I just added in. Can you see that? So let's see, we have more. So I think I have more here that I want to add here. So I'll just copy from here to this one, two, Control C to copy, and I'll come here. Since I already added this in, I don't have to add this in again. I'll just remove this, because if you leave it and run it with the others, it will be added back to the table. So Control V to paste those ones I just copied. Then let's see if I run them. So let's run this now. Execute. 19 rows affected. If I come down here to C, so select from customer, can you see that this data has been added in to our customer table that is inside LDA database? This is how you create a database, as well as creating a table and inserting values into them using SQL statement or SQL command. Create database, create table, insert into, and select to retrieve information from your table in a database. So what if you want to, I showed you how you can just by coming to a database, right click and say create new database. What if you want to create a table in a database? So just come here to the table, click on the plus sign and go to where we have tables, right click and you see new to create a new table. That's how you do it. So this is all about creating a database and a table using SQL command. Thank you so very much for watching. I hope you've been able to pick one or two from this video. So we'll meet again in our next video. Bye.